Okay, I now have a more informed perspective of Silksong's difficulty after beating Act 1. So, a lot of people have been saying that the game is impossibly hard, and that compared to Hollow Knight, it is just unreasonably difficult. And I have not agreed with that throughout the first act at all. I feel like I'm having an easier time with bosses than in Hollow Knight. Traversal's just as hard as ever. But I'm generally beating bosses, or was generally beating bosses between 3 and 4 tries. Like almost nothing took me over 5 tries. And I was actually hoping that the game would get harder. But of course, I'm pretty good at the formula, and I, welcome a challenge. Like I love seeking out challenge. The problem, I think, that happens is that the final boss of Act 1 is a huge difficulty jump from what you're being given throughout the rest of the game. And I do think from a design perspective that was an error, because I think they should have prepared you for that fight by giving you slightly harder fights up to that point. I do think that it's a legitimate complaint that that fight is too hard, given that you haven't had experience with anything that difficult yet leading up to it, the Act 1 final boss. And so that's a legitimate complaint, and I get why people are making it. It's a really hard boss, and there's no getting around it. It took me like 12 or 13 tries, and I loved it. I thought it was fucking awesome. It was a great fight. I was very happy that there was that much challenge in that fight, but I totally get that, it's not manageable for a lot of people. But I do, honestly, my gripe with people saying that the game is impossibly difficult from the start is that I don't think that's true at all. I think that that's coming from people that have not played Hollow Knight in a long time, or potentially have never played Hollow Knight, and they are just making claims about difficulty in comparison to Hollow Knight, when I don't know, for me, it's not true at all. I had more difficulty with Hollow Knight than I did with the first act of Silksong. And I would say that even that Act 1 final boss is as hard as, a lot of the harder stuff in Hollow Knight. Like, it's not as hard as, like, the Radiance. There's definitely harder fights than this Act 1 final boss that a lot of people are like, oh, this is a progress ender, I'm done. So there's some legitimate complaints and some totally not legitimate.